back to square one.
The only time I ever heard the phrase square one is if it was a negative connotation. We're gonna have to start back at square one. I guess we're back at square one. And I thought, maybe it's a negative, but let's turn it into a positive. And so this song kind of started out as, alright, every new day we get to start afresh or start anew. I was like, well, why do we have to start anew? What would happen the day before? Well, pretty much you mess up every day. Either it's the way you act, the way you treat somebody, or just the way you maybe behave, or maybe even just think. So by the end of the day, if you just wrote down all the actions you took that day, God gives us that chance every morning to wake up, new day, new start, right back at square one. I knew that was my theme. I knew I wanted to project that because I believe in that. As far as the music was concerned, that was a different story because I was a rocker through and through. But I actually saw a Bob Dylan concert. I'd already signed with Tate, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do as far as musically. I wanted a foot stomping, same chord progression, but the words were going to be different. And that's kind of how the song Square One came about. So as people, we have to sit and sometimes reflect on, are we who we are supposed to be? Are we doing the things we're supposed to be doing? And I know the answer for me was not most of the time. I didn't know, what direction I was going to go in. I was kind of by myself. And if you like that, if you listen to the song Square One, that's the first line. I'm not supposed to be here alone. Don't think I can make it all by myself. And no one's supposed to be alone. And even if you feel alone, we're not alone. God is always by our side. The second song on the CD is Beautiful. I'd like to look at that as maybe you woke up, you turn on the news, you see people just bashing celebrities. This person's too thin, this person's gained weight. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I am not perfect at all. And so you go into kind of like a self-loathing, like, oh, I'm not good. And so I wanted to, okay, you get up, you say you're back to square one. The next thing you should say to yourself is that you're beautiful just the way you are. I had a couple of songs that I thought would transition well from the rock setting that we used to do in my band to the stage, me and myself with an acoustic guitar. This Is How You Move, which has always been a favorite of mine. Tate Music Group really liked that song anyway, so I knew I wanted to keep it. And Humble, which has always had a good message as well. Both of those were pretty much self-evaluating songs. Who are you? Do I want to let go really? Was kind of the questions that I wanted to pose there. Because in order to start fresh, you have to erase the paper. You have to erase what's already on there. So those songs really kind of spoke about that. I Don't Have To was kind of my song about losing complete control and not having to know the answers. In a world where answers are the key, you have to know everything. And I'm one of the biggest know-it-alls you'll probably find. I thought, for a while I thought I knew everything. And so that song was more about saying, you know what, I don't know which way you want me to go. I know I'm going to follow you, but I really don't know the answers. And guess what, I don't have to, because I am following you. And that was a great, kind of a great message, I think. The next song that I wrote for the album was Stop and Look Around, which is more about almost an answer to self-pity. People always say, why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to me? Or why is this happening to this person? They're so nice, they're so good. Stop and look around. God puts us in these situations to test us, make us grow. He's always going to let us find a way out of a situation, no matter how big the problem might seem. Another song is King of Nowhere, which I love. I love singing it. I love playing it live. I love hearing people sing it. It's a catchy tune. It's probably the most poppiest, if that's a word, song on the album. And that just talks about your rise to fame, your rise to popularity, your rise to the top of a job maybe, or just school, where you might have to tear down people to get up there. And by the time you get up there and you realize that you've succeeded or you're at the top, you're all alone because you pretty much burnt every bridge to get up there, or hurt somebody's feelings, backstabbed them. And no one wants to be the king of nowhere. I'd rather be the poorest of the poor and have friends and have the relationship with God that I have, instead of being the richest of the rich and having nothing to show for it as far as people, eternal life, and love. Then I went ahead and I actually took an old punk song that I wrote a long time ago, "In Your Arms," and we just talked about coming to God and being in His arms. And I slowed that down because I thought, hey, why not let that be the ending of the CD? You start back at square one. It's the beginning of the day, and as the CD progresses, maybe you're going through each step of the day, and you're at the very end, you end up in God's arms. So in February of 2011, I signed with Tape Music Group, and that was an awesome thing. Because pretty much they said, hey, I like your stuff, let's get a partnership going. You're gonna have total creative control. It's nothing that you have to stop everything, go on tour. You kind of go into it. So I was like, man, this is awesome. So I went into it, wrote the song, sent them to them. They got their studio musicians hooked up. They started playing them. I went down to Oklahoma. We went ahead and we cut the record. It was actually pretty fast. My producer was Austin Harms, who is definitely an amazing producer. He was right on the money. He didn't hesitate on what decisions we had to make. He was definitely a big impact on the music as well, as he played some of the instruments on the record. So at this point, I'm now playing live shows, playing by myself sometimes as a full band, and we always get to have fun wherever we go.
Get back to square one.